everyone. Welcome to another session of the Young Professionals Network, where we share tips on how we as young professionals are navigating through life and also through our careers as well. Today, we have with us a young professional who has crossed borders to another land, who's currently navigating his professional and personal life in a new land. Today we have with us Samuel Kirapash. Thank you so much for joining me on this call today, Samuel. Um, Samuel is currently a policy analyst. He's originally from Kenya, but he's working as a policy analyst at the Spring Institute for Intercultural Learning here in the US. He did his undergrad in environmental studies from the Kenyan African Nazarene University. Also, he has an MSc in environmental policy from the University of Colorado Boulder here in the US. So thank you so much again, Sam, for agreeing to do this with us today. Before we delve right in, we do know that the theme for today is crossing borders and claiming spaces. And I also just want to invite everyone on the call. If you have questions, please, you can use the chat box on Zoom, or you can use the Q&A function or Zoom to drop your questions. We do have prearranged questions for Sam. After we have gotten through all of that, we'll do a Q&A session at the end. So back to you, Sam. Before we delve right into the main discussion today, do you mind introducing yourself to us? Maybe some things that I didn't capture in the introduction.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nancy. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my experience. For the sake of our viewers, I know, Nancy has already covered much about myself. My name is Samuel Kirapash. I have a second name, which is from my mom. It's Saidim, which in my own tradition, the Maasai, it means I can do everything.
Oh, wow. So, I didn't know that.
So I am from Kenya, East Africa. I'm from the community called the Maasai. Grew up in the southern part of the country. If you know, because I know most of you from Africa, if you know, there is the famous Masai Mara National Reserve. So I come from that area, from that community called the Maasai. So I grew up there, came to the United States in 2021 in July, during my birthday. Actually, I landed on my birthday. Now I live in Denver, Colorado. I went to school, as Nancy has mentioned, the University of Colorado Boulder, where I did my master's. But I wanted to mention one thing. Before joining my bachelor's in Kenya, I actually went through a program which is more or less paramilitary, which is the Kenya Wildlife Service Training Institute, which is now referred as the Wildlife Research Training Institute. I studied wildlife management before I transitioned into African Nazarene University. And I'm so excited to be here today. I look forward to sharing my experiences crossing borders and coming to the United States. It's quite a fascinating experience. So I look forward. So thank you so much, Nancy. I've known Nancy now for almost a year now, Nancy, working together at Spring Institute. We've done some really good work. She's doing a good job with the Young Professional Network. So I really congratulate you, Nancy, for the work that you're doing, and I know that you will go far with it. And I know these stories that we're going to share will touch somebody, and perhaps somebody can learn from it. And you're going to create a network for young professionals, especially from our African countries, to have access to resources, to have access to information, access to mentorship, in the future. So yeah, I'm excited. I look forward to this interview. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the kind words, Sam. Without much further ado, I'm just going to throw you into the first question. Like you also already alluded, it's not easy, crossing borders all the way from East Africa now to the US. So when you first got to the US as a young professional from Africa, what part of yourself did you feel you had to protect the most? Your identity that you felt you had to protect the most? And what parts did you later realize you needed to let grow, outgrow or let, marinate, essentially?
Yeah, so well, this is a very interesting question, Nancy, because we all come from communities, from our cultural backgrounds, etc. So when I first arrived to the United States of America. The part that, I felt most to protect was my identity. And when I say my identity, I mean, for example, my accent, which you can get it from the way I'm speaking, the way I think, my relationship to my community and my knowledge and how I can contribute it to the new space that I came into. So, I wasn't aware, that, I didn't have an accent until you come here and you're talking with somebody, you're engaging, and then you realize, oh, wow, okay, I speak differently. But then it's also a strength, because at the end of the day, it's not about your accent. It's about what you bring on the table, your experiences, your cultural background. They all contribute to meaningful success for whatever community that you engage in. So, for example, the new community that you came into in the United States, whether it is in school, whether it's in your workplace, which as an international student you might get an opportunity to work, whether it's inside the university or outside the university in a professional setting. So I later realized that I need to let go of that feeling of my identity. So I became more confident, in bringing my full context into whatever work environment that I'm in. So yeah, I feel like, the cultural identity, my accent and all that, those are some of the things that I was a little bit worried about, but then later I realized that I need to let go and perhaps be more confident and use my cultural background, my identity to contribute in this country and the community that I'm getting into and my workplace. So yeah.
Thank you so much. That was very well put. Like, I also had that feeling as well coming into the US. Like, you feel like you already have, especially coming in as already a young professional. You're not coming in as a child. You're not coming in as you're coming in as a young adult who already has set principles laid down for your life. And then you're coming into this new place and people smile at you and they smile, and then they and be like, I thought we were friends because we smiled at each other, So just allowing your identity to grow instead of being stoic and just being very, and it translates to other parts of your life as well. Like, you find yourself in an office, like maybe in your previous workplace, you use Salesforce, and now you're in another office and they're using Growth Zone, and you're like, no, I want us to go back to using Salesforce, or you're projecting to the team to use Salesforce because that's what you're used to. But allowing yourself to enjoy each process of life, your identity is constantly evolving. So when you find yourself in a new place, in a new environment, yes, you already have your values, you already have your identity made, but then allowing yourself to also embrace the culture and the identity of the new environment that you have found yourself, be it a new country in your case and my case, or in a new office, essentially. So thank you so much.
Yeah. And also, one thing to mention, also in class, because I remember in Kenya, I was very active. I would ask questions in class. I'm always engaging. And because of that fear of, my identity, and in the first few semesters, I wasn't very active. I know I can contribute. I know I can ask a question. But then with time, you realize, no. It's about what I contribute. And I started asking more questions. I became even more sharper and all that. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. And now the second question that I have for you today, we hear about it a lot, claiming spaces, having a seat at the table. But I want you to expunge more on this, from your own experience. We do know that there is a difference between having a seat at the table and feeling like you really, really belong at the table. So can you please share with us a moment where you truly felt that you were claiming space rather than just filling the vacuum or occupying it?
Yeah. For a long time, for me, I felt like having a seat on the table meant, staying prepared for meeting, or staying polite and waiting to be invited into conversations. And I came with the mindset that, don't mess up things, don't say anything wrong, just confirm and note all the time. So I'm going to share a very good example. I'm not going to mention the organization that I was working for, but we were conducting a study in one of the policy areas, and for the information that we were collecting as a team, we were just collecting data. We didn't have information from the community. So with time, I wanted to share that, like I mentioned, you come with the mindset that you're always staying quiet I'm still new in this space. I'm still new in this country. I didn't contribute much because I didn't want to mess up. But then I realized we were going in the wrong direction because we didn't have perspective in our data from the community. So I had to share that and contribute and say, no, we are moving in the wrong direction. Can we try and perhaps collect more feedback so we can bring information from the community on the table? And I noticed that everybody listened to me. And I noticed that everybody was willing to take my contribution seriously. And that moment, you pause and you realize that, oh, wow, perhaps I can be on the table. I can contribute. Somebody's listening to my idea. Somebody's willing to act on my idea. So that allowed me to start claiming my space and have even more confidence. And going back to our first question, I didn't worry about my identity and all that. So I started claiming that space with a lot of confidence, and something that I encourage anybody who is watching this video and is going to whatever country you go, to Europe, you come to the United States, is that your identity shouldn't define how you get into spaces. Just claim the space, be confident, be willing to share, be willing to contribute, and someone somewhere will be listening to you. So that's a little. I'm not going to mention the organization, but it was a good experience and also an eye-opening for me as well.
Wow, thank you so much. I feel like I'm learning as well, because like recently I also like had this like conversation. I was at the KMC and we're talking about like different trends, and I was like, yes, we do have something to say, and there are people who are willing to listen to what you have to say, because like you rightly said, there is the tendency for us to always want to like just take notes and listen. There's one funny story that one of my coach always tells. Like, people come to the table, like there's a meeting and people come to listen to you, talk. People come to listen to you give ideas, but because you're busy taking down notes, you're busy writing and writing, you don't want to miss anything that they say. They look at you as incompetent, right? So we do have all these other tools. You can use AI to take notes for you right now. Even on this call, we're taking notes, right? You can use AI to take notes whilst you're contributing to the table. That means you're claiming that space, like you have, illustrated. So thank you so much.
Yeah. And also, there is no idea, that is wrong. Everything, it depends with how you take it. So just be willing to claim that space, contribute, talk, share. And you can use your experiences. Like, for example, our experiences from our countries, they're very unique. Growing up, it's very unique. And bringing that perspective on the table sometimes also, it's very powerful.
Yeah, thank you so much. My third question, you already alluded to it when you were responding to the second question. But like, here, you're navigating your life, you're navigating data, because you're a data person. So I do know that by virtue of working with you. But I really want to know, like, what do you think about success? Like, or what are the things that you have had to unlearn about success, especially as, an African from East Africa coming all the way to the US with all the expectations that people have of you? What is that one thing that you have had to unlearn about success? And now, what is your definition of success?
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question and a very interesting question, Nancy. Thank you for asking. I think, I don't know, I don't want to generalize, but I know most of us growing up, we really liked the titles, the degrees, and also proximity to power, which is something very common in our own countries. If you notice very carefully, the children that knew somebody in power, they had access to getting a better job after university. For you, who is just a normal citizen, you don't have any connection, you won't be able to get as much as possible the success route that an individual who has access to power can get. So I came to realize that, proximity to power, credentials, for example, because I know we love titles, Dr. Kirapash, engineer, all that, which these are all just titles, and titles without the meaning and experience sometimes is also, it means nothing. So over time I realized that, chasing external validation with all those titles and all that can quietly disconnect you from the work that is actually important. it can make you forget the work that you're actually doing. So for me, I feel like I realize that it's more of your integrity, your competency, the relationship that you're building with your colleagues. It's not about titles, and that's what I noticed when I came here. We used to have a big car, have all these big things, big names. When you come, you realize, no, 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 no. People have all those things. They have access to all the things that we've been thinking about, but they are very humble. They're willing to build relationships. They're always willing to support you and all that. So that really changed for me, and that the definition of success I will tell you, it changed when I arrived here in 2021. So now I center everything that I do basically around, am I learning, am I building skills, am I building relationship, etc., etc. So it's no longer about me having a master's or me doing a PhD and all. I mean, it's a good thing, but what are you doing with your titles and your resources and all that? So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a follow-up question regarding this question that you just responded to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's so interesting and it's so very informative how you have been able to navigate, redefining success for yourself vis-a-vis where you have found yourself in life today. Mm-hmm. But I also want you to talk about expectation of success, especially for you and for me as young professionals who have crossed borders and are, in another country. Mm-hmm. Essentially, people assume that so long as you have migrated from East Africa to the US, you should be successful, right? Whereas you came here, and according to what you have said, you see that success is very, very relative. People find success in the littlest things, like in relationship, like you've said, in your identity. Just being competent is successful to you. But then, how do you then manage the expectation of people at home or people who are looking to you to be successful, or who think you're successful? Like when they think about success, they think you have all this money, all the houses, all the cars. I mean, you are abroad, right? You're in the US. So how do you manage their expectations? How do you close that gap? How are you navigating that part of your life? Like what things have you put in place to ensure that they get to you or not?
Okay, so I think two things have worked for me. Number one, I'm a realist. Before I came to the US, I did my study. I did my research very well. I understood where I was going. I understood what challenges that I might incur as I come here. I understood what I needed to do. So number one, I'm a realist. I know it's the United States. I have to work hard, just like I have to work hard in Kenya. To get that car, I also need to work hard. To get that job, I need to work hard. In terms of expectations, I just don't put it in my. The way I live is that I live as someone who doesn't care about what people expect of me, because this is my life. I have to build my own life. I know, it's very important for my family. It's very important for my friends. It's very important to my fellow colleagues in Kenya, but I think it's most importantly you should focus on yourself, building yourself first, because if you put the expectation of people, that might even ruin you. And even growing up, we were growing up with expectation to make our parents happy, make our friends happy, choosing a career that is what people are saying, oh, you should be a doctor, so you go and become a doctor. So I think it should first start with you. Follow your intuition and do the right thing that you really want to do as an individual. And that will help you to manage all these expectations. And sometimes I call it noise, because it might distract you from what you're doing. And I'm sorry to say that. So I think for me, it is two things: being realistic, but also just not having the mentality that people are expecting me to do A, B, C, D. I know my family has expectation in me. I will do whatever I need to do to a certain extent, but I also don't want to push myself too hard, because I'm also a realist that, challenges exist. I cannot afford a car, and life actually it has challenges. That's the number one thing that I came to realize. There's challenges, whether you have money or you don't have money, challenges will always bear. So the idea is to embrace those challenges and living within those means of being realistic, that these are the challenges. But I'm also not saying that you shouldn't be ambitious or or sometimes I call it being delusional. It's possible. You can have all those cars and all that. So I think those are the two things that have worked for me so far.
I
Yeah.
don't think there's anything to add, because like this makes so much sense that you have just said. Like being real, like embracing your reality and focusing on yourself, like narrow down, have a tunnel vision, right? It's I just also quickly want to say it's easier said than done for like people like you, Sam.
Yeah.
You've been able to
It's
like
easier.
master that,
Yeah.
to the point where you consider any other person's opinion or expectation of you as noise. But like it's easier said than done. But you see that it is the only way you can actually, be successful. Because if you allow those baggages to define you, you would, and then people will still talk. There's nothing that you would say that would be pleasing. So as a young professional, the takeaway today is to be real, like focus on the reality, like what are the odds in your favor or against you. Focus on that, and then have a tunnel vision on yourself, on where you're going. And like you also said, even though you have, people have like expectations from you, your parents, your community, and the rest, but like knowing how to manage that as well, that is what we guarantee you success. Because if you want to be successful based on the definition of another person, you might end up burning out and not even end up like pleasing them or meeting up to the standard that they set for you. So
and I like that point. One thing to add on that, because you just reminded me something. I know we all have a vision. It's good to have a vision, but you shouldn't also worry about that. Worry about what you're doing every day towards whatever you need to achieve. If you need to go to class, you need to go to class and focus on that class. Don't worry about getting a big car, or somebody is looking at you at home thinking that you're not making it, or somebody is making it at home and you're here, you're also not making it. So focus on your day-to-day activities. Whether do you need to go to the gym? Yes, I will go to the gym. Do I need to read a book every day? I'm going to read a book. Do I need to do my assignment? I am going to do my assignment. Continue focusing on day-to-day. Build those relationships day-to-day. And those are the things that will propel you towards your vision. It's good to have your vision, and it's good to write them down. You can have a vision board. You can stick it somewhere. But at least whatever you do every day, it's something that is going to help you to move towards that direction of what you want to achieve. So that's also something that has worked for me. And that has helped me to block the noise. And to be fair, I don't have a lot of noise from outside for me, for example, but at least I know somewhere somebody has those kind of challenges. It's always there, and it's around us every day. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I just also quickly wanted to add that this noise is not only for you if you're an international student abroad or like you're an immigrant abroad. It also can be noise from your own home, like wherever you are. Like
wherever you're working,
thinking that, you should be successful by this time, So just to quickly also like add that in. So I'm going to move on to the next question. If you're just joining us, this is Samuel Kirapash. He's a Kenyan who's currently working as a policy analyst at the Spring Institute for Intercultural Learning here in the US. He's originally from East Africa, and he crossed border into the US and is navigating his life and career here in the US as a young professional today. So the first question that I have for you today, Sam, is, when you come into a new country, like there's so many noise, so much noise. You're struggling to find your balance. You're struggling to get accommodation, pay for tuition if you don't have full funding, get a job that will pay for your food. Different things is just happening to you at the same time, to the point that you cannot even hear yourself think. You're so overwhelmed with like trying to like find stability and find the rhythm that you don't even hear yourself think. So my question is, what has been the quietest lesson that you ended up learning? Like when you took time to just like, pause and think back, what was the one thing that hit you that you'd never, ever imagined or thought of before, especially as an international student here in the US?
Okay. One thing that I've come to realize, and it's a lesson that I didn't expect coming home, is the power of listening. I know you and I, this is something that we've talked before as we continue working on our project, especially in spaces where you feel like you have the pressure to prove yourself. and this is common, especially in your early on career. You want to prove so you can be seen, so you can get that opportunity, and it's something good. It's good to showcase yourself, but sometimes there's a power of just sitting back and also just listening. That will give you an opportunity to learn across cultures, to build relationships, to learn from your colleagues. It builds also discipline, and also power dynamics. So it will help you create a better environment to learn, but also have respect and build relationship amongst your colleagues or in school, for example. So I think the power of listening is something that I to be honest, growing up, it's something that I didn't pay much attention. But when I came here, I realized it's something powerful, and it's something that you can powerfully use to learn and grow in your career or in other spaces. And it has fundamentally shaped the way I work nowadays. So yeah.
I do have a follow-up question for you regarding this. In the first question, we talked about in the first and second question, the first question we talked about confidence, being confident in yourself and in your abilities. And then the second question, you talked about speaking up, taking and claiming space.
I know.
And now you're saying, relax. Don't have to always speak. I just want you to
no, I'm not saying
that. What's the sweet spot? What's the balance? The balance between owning up, showing up, speaking up, and then also knowing when to take a step back and listen, and don't feel you are lesser, or you're not competent if you do not speak up, if you do not contribute. I just want you to quickly say something about those three fears, because one will look at them well, you just said this, so
I think that's a very interesting dynamic to deal with. I will say it's just, and this will depend more on an individual basis. You can use some level of intelligence, whatever level of intelligence that you have, to gauge the room that you are in, because sometimes there are spaces that might trigger you to try and justify yourself, justify your point. So what I meant in this is just basically try and understand the room that you are in, because also sometimes people can overstep on you when you become really quiet and also not really contributing and all that. And actually here in the United States, something that I've noticed, that it's the more you speak, the more you're being noticed. But I think it will depend individually on the level of room that you're in and all that. But for me, it's just having that integrity to be able to understand the room that you're in. But I think in terms of learning and listening, I think contributes even for you to know more how to engage and contribute or claim those spaces by being able to just sit and listen fast before you can claim that space. So it's quite an interesting scenario there. Very difficult to answer.
I totally agree. And I really, really, really loved what you just said, the 3 points that you gave. Level of intelligence, number one, reading the room, number two, and having self-confidence. I feel like that is the glue to the balance. So yes, claim spaces, but don't claim spaces because you have to prove yourself. Because I remember when you were speaking to that question about claiming spaces, you also said that you have something to say. So say it, because in your example that you gave, you saw that they were going this route, and you were like, let's also, do community and stakeholder engagement. And that was why you spoke up, because you had something to say. So that is the sweet spot. So you have to know how to find a balance as a young professional navigating career, navigating life. The balance is knowing when to speak up and knowing when to take a step back. And what can help you, do that is, number one, according to what Sam has said today, I'm learning, oh my God, your level of intelligence, right? How intelligent are you? Number two, reading the room. Are you being provoked or triggered to speak? Is it because you are speaking because you want to prove yourself, or because you truly have something to say? And number three, how confident are you in yourself, essentially? How confident that, I do know what I'm saying. If I speak up, I know that what I'm saying. I'm not just here being a hawk, or just trying to just like occupy space as against claiming space. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah, you
for
just
that
put it.
clarity.
You put it so well, and it's even better than me. I think we should switch the interview so I can interview.
No,
But
you said it.
thank
No,
you for
you
solidifying that and
see. I think this goes back to
summarizing.
the question that you talked about listening. I listened
Mhm.
to you and I was
Mhm.
taking notes, and as you were
Mhm.
talking, I was taking notes, and this is everything that you said. So thank you so
Mhm.
much for that
Yeah,
clarity. I'm learning a lot now. I
yeah.
know that when I want to speak up, why am I speaking up? Is it because I want to occupy space, or I want to,
Mhm.
or is it because I'm actually have something to
To
say?
contribute,
Thank you.
absolutely. I love it. I love it.
Me too.
Yeah.
So the next question I would have today is, if you could speak to the version of yourself. I like asking this question because it
Mhm.
makes you think about like your own perspective as well, your own
Mhm.
journey and the trajectory that has brought you thus far
Mhm.
in life. So if you could speak to the version of yourself just living home with ambition, with uncertainty, oh my gosh, I feel like I can put that in caps
Mhm.
uncertainty. What
Mhm.
would you tell yourself about
Mhm.
building value?
Okay, yeah, this is an interesting question, and I feel like it's tied to some of the questions that you've already asked, and I've mentioned briefly in the last few questions this point, and I think it's and I don't know, I don't want to generalize and say all of us is Africans, but the feeling of self justification, and this goes back to what I just said in terms of claiming spaces. You don't have to explain your worth all the time in whatever room. That's what I came to realize. And I don't have to prove anything or to prove that I'm smart, that I know it, that I know everything, blah blah blah. I think for me, I came to realize that I need to focus on building. Number one, in my career, for example, it's the depth of knowledge. I don't want to justify that I know, I understand policy, and I understand. No, no, no. I don't need to justify. It's for me to focus on how can I continue building the depth of, in terms of my knowledge in skills, for example, stakeholder engagement, for example, analysis, policy analysis, but to focus more on building that knowledge as well as building relationships. So it's something that is very, very important. And I think that is what I've learned here in the United States since I came, is continuing to build that relationship. The relationship would help you get a job. The relationship will help you have a community to hang out with, which is something that we have a challenge as we come here. You end up, back home we have a lot of friends. You grow up in a community. You grow up in schools where we have friends and all that. You come here, you don't have friends, you don't have a community, so you'll have to start growing and all that. So I've left the self justification, my title, my success, my achievement, but focus more on building my skills, building relationship, building my network. And also the other thing that I wanted to mention that I've come to learn, it's building consistency. For example, now what you're doing right now with the work that you're doing, Nancy, with the Young Professional Network, it's how do I continue expanding this network? How do I continue bringing on board as many students as possible from African countries to share their experiences and their stories? So it's continuing to build that consistency, trust, and all that. And yeah, so that's something that I've just unlearned since I left home. It's just not focus on constant self justification.
Justification.
Mm-hmm,
Wow,
mm-hmm,
thank you so much. I mean, just to like recap what you said, just so like one thing that has you've learned about building value is
mm-hmm,
to remove the urge to
mm-hmm,
have self-justification, and
mm-hmm,
instead build value by focusing on building your skills,
mm-hmm,
increasing your knowledge, especially like in your own line of work, policy analysis, stakeholder engagement. So like
mm-hmm,
increasing
mm-hmm,
the depth of your knowledge,
mm-hmm,
building consistency, adding more
mm-hmm.
skills to your tool belt.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and then also
Wow.
one thing I wanted to mention, I forgot, is you live as international students, as we leave our country, whether you're going to the next country, for example, I'm from Kenya, whether I'm going to Tanzania, I'm going to Uganda, you live as with two things. I don't know if this applies to everybody out there, but you live with two things. Ambition. You're ambitious. Wherever you're going with an ambition that I'm going to achieve whatever goal I'm going to set for myself. You're coming to the US, you're going to do your master's. I have an ambition to finish my master's and blah, blah, get a job and all that. But also there's another thing, uncertainty. Because where you're coming, you're not sure where you're going, who you're going to meet, how the lectures will look like. There is the classes. Will I have friends? Will I have resources to continue supporting yourself? So it's something. Those are two key things that I actually, when I was coming to the US, I had in mind. But then you come and realize that sometimes that the uncertainties is not a weakness. It challenges as well you to find ways to survive, and it's often a starting point for you to grow in that country, wherever you're going. It's an opportunity for you to grow, like I mentioned, build those relationships and all that, and then eventually you'll achieve your ambitions.
I love that. So uncertainty challenges you.
Exactly.
You. Oh, I love
because
it.
you and I know.
We talked about it. So more. We've talked about it.
We talked about it in our work. So
yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing them. The last question that I have for you today, before we open it up to Q&A for everyone, is for those of us, because I consider myself still a young professional, still navigating through life. I truly do feel that. But for those of us who are still finding our voices, who are still learning how to claim space in new or unfamiliar places, whether be it in a new country, be it in a new organization, in a new office, and the likes, what is one small step you would give to us to do today, like practical, like an action step, like that you would give to us today to do to achieve, that? Like, what is one step, one action plan that you say from today, do this. This will help you claim space and, improve yourself as a young professional?
That's a tough question, Nancy, because you and I have this conversation. We're still growing. We're still young. Of course, we are young professionals. But I think for me, what has helped me so far to where I am today, it's the first action item you need to do is continue to build connections, continue to build those relationships, network as much as possible. But also, I'm currently reading a book by Robert Greene. It's called Mastery. And mastery is basically, it talks about focusing on one thing and master that one thing. If you're looking into AI, focus on AI and block the noise. And he mentioned there, you should trust your intuition. Go back and listen to yourself, and then focus on that one thing that you're interested in. And then now you apply consistency and become really persistent, because in the book he talks about in the ancient days, our ancestors, they will go days and days without food, but they kept on persisting and looking for it and being very, very consistent. So I'll say, building relationships, staying consistent in whatever you do, master it. If you're in policy analysis, master it. And it's something that I'm working on. We're still young. I just turned 30. So I'm still learning as well. So I'll say, especially outside your home or in this country, you should continue to build relationship, build that connection, and also just, be good to people and, be willing to offer your perspective and all that. So those are some of the things that I'll say have helped me to where I am today, and we are still continuing to grow. So,
oh my gosh,
we talk about this, Nancy, all the time.
Oh my gosh, I'm learning a lot, and I just want to say quickly, thank you. But just to throw more light on what you said about mastery, it's essentially very, very important, because as a young professional, like you see your friends who are doing data analytics, they're doing so well in data analytics, or you see somebody who is doing tech, who is into web design, who is into crypto, who is in different things are happening, and you're telling yourself, well, maybe that's where I should be, or the content creation, or your friends are doing content creation.
Because
and they're cashing out. And then you're like, where should I go? What should I do? Maybe this is the place. Maybe this is well, like what you just said now is light bulb. Mastery. Pick one niche, stay there and master it. That is how you would guarantee or attain success as a young professional. Like you said, and I think you just said it in passing, but like the magnificent, I don't know, like what's filled me right now to talk about like the huge importance of like blocking the noise.
Yep.
You said it in one line, but it's not just as easy. Blocking the noise.
And it's not easy, especially now with technology and AI. And it's normal for us human beings. At some point, you will be in that position where you're wondering what direction to take in life. So it's
I
good to
can
take
share,
that.
and before we quickly open it up to Q&A, I can quickly share my own personal experience regarding mastery,
Mm-hmm.
blocking the noise, and trusting my intuition. So I came
Mm-hmm.
into the US and I wanted to do my master
Mm-hmm.
in, international diplomacy. That's what I read in my undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
And as I started after my first quarter, I just knew that I wanted, because like I felt in my mind like I'm paying so much money, I'm making all the sacrifices. I want to challenge myself to do something even more, like
Mm-hmm.
something that I've always thought I was not, qualified to do. I didn't have the capacity to
Mm-hmm.
do. And I said to
Mm-hmm.
myself, I'm going to switch my degree program to economics,
Mm-hmm.
all the way from the art and the humanities now
Mm-hmm.
into pure sciences. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
how am I going to do this? And trusting my intuition was, and then people were telling me, well, if you're an international student, is nursing. Go and do nursing. That is where the money is. Once you finish with your degree, you have a job immediately. And then I was like, I really, really want to do economics because I do want to do business. I feel like this is what I want to do. And I trusted my intuition, but it wasn't very easy to like trust
Mm-hmm.
my intuition and then just like go into that. And then I started like taking classes. I'm taking classes right now that are stretching me, like, like
Mm-hmm.
part of the things that you also said, like stretching me. I'm taking Coursera classes as well. Like I'm not just relying on
Mm-hmm.
only my master's classes. I'm also taking
Mm-hmm.
Coursera classes to give myself mastery, because if I say I'm coming into this field, I don't have the basic background,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am
Mm-hmm.
now reteaching myself or going back to class to reteach myself about like those
Absolutely.
backgrounds. So I'm taking Coursera classes to cover the gap for the
Mm-hmm.
background that I don't have,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't do economics in my undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like that, this is like validation to me, like you're on the right path, like focus, like don't let people distract you and say, well, if you do this, you nobody go and do this particular one. Nothing is the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I just
Yeah.
really wanted to say thank you and also
Yeah.
like
Follow. Yeah. Follow your intuition. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
follow your
whatever you want.
intuition,
Mm-hmm.
mastery, block the
Mm-hmm.
noise, and then
Mm-hmm.
build connection and relationships.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say I will talk to you off camera because I need more of all this,
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so
Yeah.
much. So
And
I'll just
then
quickly
maybe one
yeah.
last point I can mention there is as you come here, there's also a lot of noise in terms of what you can buy and what you can um, possess in terms of the what am I looking for here, like material wise. So when you come here, just I don't want to provide some just live below your means, save as much money as possible, block the noise of you have to prove somebody back home that you need to buy a big car. I don't know. I'm just mentioning. I'm throwing that lightly there because I feel
Mhm.
it is something that has also helped me is to be just be realistic and live. I know challenges are there, but just be careful. Have an emergency plan and all that. So I just wanted to throw that in there as you
Yeah,
come
that's
in as an
very, very
international
important.
student. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you
yeah.
so
I don't.
much.
Mhm.
If you are just joining the call, this is Samuel Kirapash. He's originally from Kenya, East Africa, and is
Mhm.
currently in the US, working as a policy analyst at the Spring Institute for Intercultural Learning. He's a young professional like you and myself, navigating life, career, and trying to find a niche for himself in this big wide world. If you do have any question, you can use the chat button on Zoom, or you can use the Q&A function on Zoom as well to ask your question, or you can simply unmute yourself and ask your question directly to Sam. Whilst we allow people to marinate that question, Sam, like, do you have any like last? Oh, yeah, we have. Yeah, you can go ahead and ask the
Hello.
question. Yeah.
Okay, my name is Lucia, and I'm from Nigeria. Thank you so much for availing me with this opportunity, for joining this Zoom call. As of now, I don't really have any questions. I joined really, really late. I caught the last part, only the last part of this discussion. So I don't really have any questions for now, but subsequently I'll work to join on time. Thank you.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Lucia. Just so you know, Lucia is my biggest eldest sister. So
Oh, hi,
shout out,
Lucia.
yeah, shout out to her. She's my
Shout
eldest
out to Lucia.
sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will
Yeah.
send you the link to
The
the
recording.
recording of this
Hmm.
call after
Hmm.
now. So like
Yeah.
I'll post it on YouTube, and so you can watch the recording of this meeting. So like Sam, do you have like any final words to like share with us today? Bearing in mind our theme today is crossing borders and claiming spaces. Like, do you have any final words?
I think it's um, our marathoner Eliud Kipchoge. He's from Kenya. He once said that nothing is impossible. So as you cross borders and you go to whatever country you're going to, just know that nothing is impossible. Believe in yourself. Keep working hard. Keep working on your craft. Be very consistent, and I believe that you can achieve whatever you want to achieve in life. And it might take time. We have. You will forgive me, Nancy. I'll throw in. There is a Maasai saying that said. This is from my native language. Enkishon na enyengonye, meaning it's life comes really slowly, and the success comes really slowly. The small steps that you take very correctly. My Maasai friends will correct me if I misinterpreted that, but I believe it is staying consistent, taking the actions every single day, taking the small steps, not beating yourself so much, because sometimes we forget and we beat ourselves. You feel like you're not making it. You feel like you don't achieve anything. You're not doing anything. Your friends are making it. Don't compare yourself with. That's what I do. I don't compare myself with my friends. I am proud of what they have achieved and I celebrate with them. But I know that for me, I need to work on whatever I'm doing, the craft that I'm doing, and eventually I will eventually achieve whatever I want. So it's staying consistent and believing in yourself, trusting your intuition and all that. But also one final word is that, Nancy, thank you. It's been an honor speaking with you. I know you're very ambitious and very driven person. I also learn a lot from you. And I'm hoping this network will grow and we will create space for young professionals to gain information, but also to come and have access to materials and thrive. So I appreciate being here and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you so much. And what better way to end today's Zoom session? Like, I love what you said about, like, having eternal vision on your goal, on your career, on yourself, like, taking the small steps. As a young professional, like, you see your mates, like, scaling and you think, oh, you just want to, like, hit it big, arrive like with a big bang. But it doesn't always happen like that. Like you said, Sam, it compounds. Like the things that you're doing today, the steps that you're taking today, the decisions, be it even if it is to grab a cup of coffee or if it is to join a live Zoom session like this, or if it is to just like read one paragraph of a book, whatever it is that you're doing today, no matter how little or how insignificant you feel it is, it all compounds into your future. So knowing that, you don't have to wait until you have the big bang, but knowing that taking the small steps, being consistent, as you have said, believing in yourself and having the mindset that nothing is impossible. And that is actually true. Nothing is actually impossible. If you apply yourself, you will break that barrier. It will only take time. The door will only, it's like when you are giving birth to a child, like when the first head is coming out, maybe you cannot relate to this. But I know some people will. Like you're trying to push a child out, right? The very first, before the head comes, like, come out. I mean, I don't know, I've not had a child before, but like, I can imagine, I mean, I'm a woman. So like, it takes time, but once the child has been able to like, pop their head out, everything is just like a water flow. So like being very consistent in yourself and taking the small steps, believing in yourself, being confident, being consistent as well, and also building your capacity. You have shared so much with us today, and I just really, really want to say thank you for availing yourself to teach us and make us learn from your own journey. So thank you so much, Sam. And definitely we will take this off camera and discuss more. Just a quick housekeeping before we leave. This is the Young Professionals Network. Like Sam already alluded, we're here to create space for young professionals like me and you who are navigating not only their professional lives, but their personal and relationship lives as well, to navigate and share experiences together, learn from each other, like encourage ourselves, validate our fears and our claims as well. We have social media channels, like we are on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram as well, just the YPD.YPN on Instagram. d.ypn on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and the Young Professionals Network on Facebook. And then if you also want to, like, if you have more questions, you want to reach out to Sam to ask your questions specifically, or just, like, connect with Sam as well as a young professional, one to the other. I will share his you can email the you can email the young professionals Gmail account on our Instagram as well, and on our
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Thank you,
so
Lucia.
much.
Yeah.
And
Thank
thank
you
you so
very
much.
much.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining the call, and thank you very much as well, Sam, for the opportunity today. And that's it. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy.